Hey, this is Cindy from Creative Living. I'm working outside today. It's supposed to get up to 60 today. The sun's not quite out yet, but it might reach that. And I have a few projects I need to keep working on out here. One is to finish up the trim on my skirting at the top of it. And it's just the raw edge of the metal right now. And I did show on a video a while back, I'll try to stick some clips in here or a diagram of what we did behind this. There's a treated board down at the bottom there that touches the ground. The rest of it is just standard 2x4s. The top, as you can see where I put the vent in here, the top rail here is actually a 2x2. We split down some 2x4s. It's an economical way of doing that. My dad and I put the whole framework and all this metal on here as the skirting. And behind here, where I have things screwed, the panels are screwed on there. There are 2x4s. They're 2 foot on center behind there. More or less, because of the uneven length of the house, and it doesn't quite work out to 2 feet all over, but I spread it out where it's close enough. So, and we also put these vents in here because with the FHA regulations and all the standards for skirting, you need to have so much vent area per square foot of house, so per square foot of your crawl space. And we put these in here, the top part's screwed right into the 2x2, and we put a 2x2 here that went the width of the 24-inch on center, and then we put a little one where it was needed. Everyone varied a little bit, so to do these uprights, you kind of have to measure each one as you go to get that framework behind there, because it doesn't come out consistent. Or not for us anyway. It was my dad and I that did all this. And behind here, I'm using this product. It comes, got this at Home Depot. It comes in 2-foot strips, and it fills in the gap where the waviness is. And I used standard sill seal, just cut a strip to length and fold it in half and jammed it in there. I'll put some type of trim around the vents later. I haven't quite figured out that. One of those things I don't plan out exactly. Some of it I learn as I go. I did not find a lot of stuff on the internet about how to do a corrugated skirting like this. I've seen pictures of it done, and I do really like the way it turned out, because it kind of gives it a farmhouse effect. So I got this end done yesterday. It gives it a really nice finished look. And because you can see how the trim sticks out over there with the screws and stuff, it's not quite flush with the siding, it sticks out a little. So there's a piece of wood. There's a piece of wood as a spacer behind here, just about 1 to 1.5 inches. And then the 4-inch boards, I think they're 3.5. Sorry. I kept them the same as the existing trim on there. And where this trim went down, I didn't trim it off there. I just butted the backing up to that, and that padded it out to come up even with the trim board there. And I have stapled that on. A crown stapler is what I'm using. These are the pieces I'm using as the backing to pad that out. And that comes, I measured up 2 inch from the top of the metal and marked that all the way around the house. And that's what I'm lining that up with. And this is the trim. check the size I told you. 3.5, yeah. So, and that trim is all cut out of a 4x8 sheet of panel like that, which is this, and that is the same paneling that's used on the house. This is called smart siding. With the grooves on the siding, when I cut 3.5 inches, I could get 2 pieces of 3.5 inches out of each of this with a little extra. So those center pieces I actually am using as some of the material to pad it out. And then I cut some extras also. And I did paint both sides. There's a primer. I put a primer on the back side. The front side comes primed already. But I added primer to the back side, and then I also added a quick coat of the house paint to the back side. I got the edges probably about 4 times total coats on the edges because it sucks it in a lot. Front side is 2 coats of house paint. And this is the stapler, I think it's called a crown stapler, that I'm using to staple the trim on. Another tool you'll always need is the speed square. Helps your measurements be straight. This is a handy tool. I think they're called Japanese saws or something like that. But like on this corner, I had this piece overhanging and butted that to it. And with this such a thin blade, I actually was able to saw from that side and saw that piece off flush. It's a pretty sharp blade, so it doesn't take real long to cut it that way. On the corners, I'll need to pad this out and the trim on this bottom part, because of this sticking out a bit, it's gonna have to be flush with this piece. I thought it would look nice to be flush with this, but with your thickness of the metal here, it would never work. So that shouldn't be too difficult either. And I do have that foam in those pieces. There were some areas I was a little worried about gaps, so I did do some spray foam just in spots. And on this surface, since this is going to catch a lot of water, I'm going to put another coat of paint, and then I will do some caulking on there. On top of that, I'll see if I can get some caulk that's close to color. If I can't quite match it, I will paint over caulk. Some of my projects coming up will be to make this a little outdoor kitchen patio area. I got the grills about where I'll put them. A grill and a table. Actually, there's another charcoal grill that I'll add to that area. Another project will be putting a door here because it needs an access door, and that little pipe coming out of there is to drain the water heater. The water heater's in there. So I'll need a door that accesses the shut-off for the water. So that needs to be easy access. Another thing will be some kind of maybe a lattice structure to hide the propane tank. I have some of this started for landscaping. I'll be adding more dirt to a couple areas there. Say hi to Lily! Hi, Lily! And there's a bit of a slope in this area. I might incorporate some rocks to hold this up in, like at different levels. And I have a metal sculpture here that I want to put up on the wall there. It's got hummingbirds on it. And I do want to continue, I've got fencing there, and I want to continue that to the corner of the house. Part of it closer to the house, I might do some picket fence at the higher level here, and then use the wire fencing to drop off. That will close up the area in the back, except for the other side where there's some sheds, but it's a shorter, it's not too long of a distance to go from the shed to the house. But this will make a backyard for Lily to play in and not have to be tied up. I have a burn barrel there. It gets rid of some trash and boxes. That will be moved eventually too. I had a little bit of trouble on the corner where the staples didn't go all the way in. I forgot to turn on the air compressor. No big deal. It had power from pressure in it from yesterday. And I'll put a coat of paint over that. That'll hide those staples and keep them from rusting. I think it turned out pretty good. I did do some spray foam in a few places where there might have been gaps, because that'll keep the mice and bugs coming in there. So I got to the end. It was the only place I had to cut today. Was the pieces that go in there. I kind of pieced a small piece in there using scraps. And this corner was a little challenging. It wanted the gap at the bottom, so I went at it with the rubber mallet. Got it, good to go flat. So I'm part way across the back. That piece will have to be cut down from an 8-foot. So just this side, on the other side of the steps down there, I am okay. I already have a piece down there. I have 8 feet done. So it's basically, it's probably 50 feet left to do. I'll tell you, I've been sitting on the couch a lot during this nasty weather, and I am feeling sore muscles up and down from your, squatting down to reach this, standing up again. That standing up again part is got me. So I'm calling it a day. I will finish up. Tomorrow's gonna be really windy, so next time I get a nice day, I can wrap this up pretty easy. So thanks for joining me again. I hope it helps somebody do their skirting like this. I really like the effect. So let me know how you like this. Thanks for watching. Bye from Cindy at Boise Creative Living.